أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له ونشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له ونشهد أن سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما وعملا وفقا في الدين يا رب العالمين وألحقنا بعبادك الصالحين آمين يا رب العالمين. أما بعد، يقول الله عز وجل: ومن يطع الله والرسول فأولئك مع الذين أنعم الله عليهم من النبيين والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين وحسن أولئك رفيقا. As we all know, this verse of the Quran, a very clear command that it is not sufficient to just follow the Quran. It is not sufficient to just say that I follow Allah without Rasulullah. Rasulullah's obedience itself, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, is following Quran, is following Allah's commandments. Okay, so this verse makes it clear. And if you want to be from amongst those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chosen, those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has favored, and on those categories of Nabiyyin, Siddiqeen, Shuhada, Salihin, you want to be of any of those categories, then you must follow Rasulullah. Allah's obedience and Rasulullah's obedience comes before everything. Comes before everything. All religious cultures, all norms, all the likes and dislikes. Certain things we love to do, certain things we dislike because of our cultural norms. All those things must be taken away. If it goes against deen, automatically it is wrong and it is harmful. Okay? If it is something which Rasulullah said it is harmful for you, then he knows best. He's our father. He's our father. He knows what is best for us. Whatever he advises us is the best for us. Just like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever he tells us is the best for us. Sometimes we might not understand the wisdom. Hadith Sharif is there. Quran is there. Sometimes we might not understand the wisdom behind why the law is like that. Why the law is in such a way. But the wisdom, sometimes maybe ulama will tell you the reason, some wisdoms here and there. Not the reason, the wisdom. We call it wisdom. Slight difference. Reason is when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives it himself or Rasulullah gives it themselves. They tell you why you're doing what you're doing. You understand? That's called a reason. Whereas a wisdom, what we understand as wisdom, is something over and above where the ulama, they go and make ijtihad and they say, we pray five times salat because of this and this and this. You know, because of other reasons. External factors that are benefiting us in some way or another. Just for taqreeb, just to make people understand that there's reasons why you do certain things. You know, there's reasons why you do hajj. There's reasons why you fast. Not just the health aspect, but the health aspect will be mentioned in the wisdoms of the ulama. Okay, they will definitely mention that in the wisdoms. Anyway, we stopped on page number 32, if I remember correctly, 32, on the leftover water of a cat. Leftover water of a cat. Here, there's not much ikhtilaf. That's why I said there's one group of ulama, like Imam Shafi'i and Imam Ahmad, they don't see a problem. They don't see a problem at all, and all these hadiths are in their support. So the first hadith that we narrated from Imam al-Tirmidhi on page 31, and then page 32, the hadith on top, where Aisha radiallahu anha, she was praying, someone came and gave her some porridge, let's say, like a dish, made of meat and ground wheat, like some, what do you want to call it? Anyway, it was a small dish, a curry with bread. And the cat came and ate from that food. Aisha radiallahu anha, after she made salam, she ate immediately from the part that the cat ate from. So the person who came and gave the food, he was shocked. He was like, how comes you're eating from the part that the cat ate from? Meaning, in her mind, is whatever the cat, from wherever the cat ate from, that part is najis, according to her. But Aisha radiallahu anha, she is saying, no, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam made wudu from the remnant water, leftover water of the cat. So therefore, it is not impermissible. It is permissible to use the water, leftover water or leftover even items of a cat. It is pure, basically. So here in this hadith, it clearly shows that it is permissible. This is the hadith, and this hadith is narrated in Abu Dawud. The other one was narrated in Tirmidhi. Both are Hasan hadith. Both are Hasan hadiths. Imam Tirmidhi himself, he made that hadith Hasan. And Rawahu Abu Dawud wa isnaduhu Hasan. Here he gives the commentator, he gives a small point. Allama Nimawi, he gives a small point. He says, Abu Dawud, this is a general condition. It's not to be taken all the time, every time. Okay? Imam Abu Dawud says from part of his principles in writing the Abu Dawud, Sunan Abu Dawud, he says, if I do not comment upon any hadith, if I do not comment upon the isnad, meaning the chain, the authenticity of this hadith, then it is okay, meaning acceptable. It is acceptable. Meaning Hasan. At the bare minimum, it's going to be Hasan. So on that basis, this hadith is Hasan. Okay, because Imam Abu Dawud, after he narrated this hadith in his Sunan, he didn't make any comments. This is a general way of deciphering a hadith is Hasan or not. Okay? Like, for example, the book that I teach every Friday in our Jumu'ah, Targhib wa Tarhib. The Hafidh himself, Hafidh al-Mundhiri, he says, if I narrate a hadith with the sigha, ruwiya means it is narrated. It's like a sigha to tamrid. They say it is like it's a sign of weakness. Now, he says you must go and investigate. He's already indicated to you there might be some weakness. He didn't tell you the weakness. He just said ruwiya. Okay, so you must go and research yourself. Now, unfortunately, many ulama thought that every hadith that he uses ruwiya, it is automatically da'if. This is also against his own principles. This is wrong. He told you to go and research. That he didn't, just because he didn't give other notes after the hadith, it doesn't automatically mean it's weak. But generally, the muhaddithin, their style is when they do say ruwiya, they refer to it as it being having some type of weakness. But again, that's not the reason why Imam Mundhiri, he used that word of ruwiya. Okay? When ruwiya is used, for example, if you're not 100% sure of the wording of the hadith, we as imams will say ruwiya as well. Okay? Or sometimes we say, aw kama qala alayhi salatu wassalam. Or like the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, in similar words. Okay? In that similitude. Similar to those wordings. Ulama say you're allowed to do that as long as you go according to Imam Abu Hanifa's condition. What's Imam Abu Hanifa's condition? You are a faqih of the meaning. That's why when you read Kitabul Hidayah, you know Kitabul Hidayah? Everyone knows Kitabul Hidayah. In Hanafi fiqh, it's like the masterpiece. You have to go through Kitabul Hidayah. In there, the Allama Mirghinani, the author, he was a faqih of the highest caliber. Now, when he was making istidlal, so he's got dalil aqli and dalil naqli. So for each mas'ala that he's going to debate, well, not debate, but put forward to students, because originally his work is 80 volumes. From 80 volumes, he had to cut down to 4 volumes for us. And we find it extremely hard to study his book. That 4 volumes is very difficult to finish and very difficult to understand. Okay? Anyway, the 80 volumes is lost, unfortunately. But we've got other kitabs, maybe not of the similar caliber, but we've got other kitabs that replace the kitab. The point is, inside that kitab, Allama Mirghinani, what he does is, he brings for each mas'ala, either he brings aqli dalil or naqli dalil. Aqli dalil is made logic, meaning logically he explains to you why this is. Why do we explain this mas'ala to be this way? You understand? This issue, why do we give the fatwa on this issue to be this way? Okay? So he'll give you a logical understanding, and sometimes he'll give you a naqli dalil. Naqli is, it comes from tradition. It comes from classical hadith or Quran or understanding of the Quran or understanding of a hadith or hadith is. Yep. Now, when he brings hadith is, he doesn't bring them verbatim, word for word, literally as it comes in hadith books. Okay? This is where a lot of the ulama, after him, they started to think that maybe he's not a proper muhaddith, he's just a faqih, you know? And this became like a tradition in many of the scholars. So besides Imam Tahawi, for example, who is known to be like a huge muhaddith, and that has studied under all the 6 imams more or less, or their students at the least, or other great imams in the Hanafi madhab, a lot of the imams, and like Bada'i al-Sana'i', Allama Sana'ani, he's known for that. He's known for bringing hadith verbatim, exactly the way it is inside the. Whereas Allama Mirghinani, his style is different. His style is, look, this is fiqh. We're discussing fiqh. We're a bit more loose when it comes to the wording of the hadith. As long as it meets the criteria in the meaning, so he'll bring the hadith according to the meaning. You understand? Not according to every single wording. This is where now some people had doubts. This is why later on, Allama Zaila'i came and he wrote an exposition of all the dalils that are found in Kitabul Hidayah, who made a takhrij, a sourcing of all the hadiths. So he done it according to meaning. Now, as Imam Az-Zaila'i, one of the great muhaddithin of the 7th century, the time of just before, around Ibn Hajar's time, he came and he had to do a sourcing of all the dalils, all the hadiths inside Kitabul Hidayah, according to the muhaddithin basically. But now he had to go and find the wordings of the muhaddithin exactly in those books, because that's what the muhaddithin were looking for. They're like, look, if you're going to give evidences according to what we know. This is why you see there is a slight problem when it comes to the Hanafis and because we go according to the meaning of the hadith. As long as the meaning of the hadith is correct, you can narrate it, you know. But if you don't do it according to the actual alfaz that has come inside the hadith, then it brings the muhaddithin to question you, start to question you. That's why, alhamdulillah, we had Tahawi, we had others that were great scholars, like Ibn al-Humam and many others, that were experts in the hadith field, in order to bring out to the muhaddithin that this madhab is not just based. This is why this carried on from century to century. This idea, this notion carried on that maybe the hadiths that the Hanafis use are not so authentic. But if they just investigated a little bit, then they would have understood, like, look, their style inside their fiqh books, the way they give evidence with hadith is just through meaning. It's your duty to now go to a hadith scholar if you want the hadiths, the actual hadiths. Go to a hadith scholar and find those hadiths that are according to that meaning. So there might be one hadith, there might be 50 hadiths on that topic. So now you have to go and find all those other hadiths. It's like I gave you the example of the GP. Okay, GP is not going to tell you the ins and outs of all the evidences why he's giving you paracetamol and not Nurofen. Okay, he's not going to tell you. That's just how it is. Okay, it's not a lesson where he now has to expound upon every single detail to you. Okay, that's just not the case. So that's how a fiqh lesson goes. Whereas a hadith lesson, now we need to know who's the rawi, who's the person he's narrating from, is the matan reliable? You know, is the text itself reliable? Is the problems in the text? Is the problem inside the sanad? You know, is there any defective nature? Is it actually connected, or is it actually just looks connected? You know, so those details you'll only find from the hadith scholars. This is just to clarify a misconception that stays in many students' heads, that why does when a hadith come, I can't go and find the exact hadith, it comes with a different wording. This happens in all the books of Hanafi fiqh, generally speaking. Some are more accurate than others. For example, Imam al-Quduri, you read his huge Mawsu'a, then of course he's an early scholar. He's a scholar of 1000 and something. Yeah, so 1000 and something of the Hijri. Not Hijri. 1,000 years ago from now. 1,000 years ago from now. So when he wrote that book, he wrote that book as evidences for Shafis, evidences for Hanafis. Just like Imam Tahawi, similar to Imam what Tahawi does. Okay, because the greatest two madhabs of the world was the Shafi and the Hanafi madhab. Okay, Hanbalis and Malikis were like on the sideline. They were, by the way, they stayed there. By the way, they were never into huge debates and munadarat and arguments and defending themselves. That was never generally the case. The main two madhabs were always the Shafis and the Hanafis. Shafis were more inclined toward the wording and the literalist hadith type understanding, whereas the Hanafis, they were more into more deduction, more analytical understanding and more meaning, extracting more meaning out of the hadith. In fact, to say one thing, Ibn Abdul Barr, he wrote a book on the biography of the three Imams. He's a very early Imam. Ibn Abdul Barr, he passed away like 467. I'm correct. Somewhere there. After Hijrah. So he wrote a book on the biography on praising the three Imams. So he didn't even consider Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal to be an Imam of fiqh per se. Okay, according to him, as an early Imam, later on, of course, all the ulama accepted Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal to be an Imam of fiqh. But generally, the early scholars, some of them, they didn't accept him to be a faqih. Rather, they said he's a muhaddith. He's not known to have fiqh lessons, and he's not known, his works are not known. As is Imam Shafi, and as is Imam Malik, and as is Imam Imam Abu Hanifa. So some did say, just like Ibn Majah originally, in the initial stage, a lot of the ulama didn't consider him. He was known as Kutubul Khamsa. Kutubul Khamsa, the 5 books. Bukhari, Muslim, Tirmidhi, Abu Dawud, Nasa'i, Ibn Majah. That's it. Nasa'i, until Nasa'i. Nobody knew of Ibn Majah until after like the 5th century. Okay, after the 5th century, one of the ulama, they included Ibn Majah because of the benefits and because of the extra hadithis that Ibn Majah has that none of the other 5 books have. That's why there's ulama that have written books like Ziyadat, they call Ziyadat. In the Ziyadat, they would include all the hadithis that Ibn Majah brought that doesn't exist in Bukhari, Muslim, Tirmidhi, Abu Dawud, Nasa'i. The whole volume. So that way you just study the hadithis that is specific to Allama Hafidh ibn Majah. Okay? Sometimes some Darul Ulums do that. They teach just the Ziyadat of Ibn Majah, which is better than repeating all the hadithis all over again. Because you're already repeating so many hadithis in Bukhari, in Muslim, in Tirmidhi, in majority of the hadithis are very similar. So all these hadithis that we're doing now, you go into any kitab, any like Bukhari or Tirmidhi or Abu Dawud, you're going to find exactly the same hadithis. Exactly the same hadithis. That's why after every single hadith, he tells you where the hadith is directly from. Okay? He tells you exactly where the hadith is narrated in. So all these hadiths are found in the mother books. Khair inshallah. Let's carry on. وعن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه عن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم قال يغسل الإناء إذا ولغ فيه الكلب 7 مرات أولاهن أو أخراهن بالتراب وإذا ولغت فيه الهرة غسل مرة. رواه الترمذي وصححه. Okay. Here, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu reports that if a dog licks a container, then you must wash it 7 times. The first of which is, or the last of which is, with soil. And then we're going into that discussion. The next chapter is here. It's coming just now. And if a cat licks it, then you only wash it once. This hadith is sahih according to Imam al-Tirmidhi. Imam al-Tirmidhi, after narrating this hadith, calls it hasanun sahih. We went through that definition last week and the weeks before as well. Okay? So hasanun sahih, definitely okay to quote, and it is definitely accepted. To some, it is authentic, and to some, it is slightly lower than authentic, but it is acceptable and good. Okay, we said that. And we said that the madhab of Imam Shafi'i, Imam Ahmad, is that it's completely jaiz, permissible, no karaha. They don't say it's makruh. In Imam Abu Hanifa, he says it's makruh. Why? Because there's two sets of hadith. So either you neglect one set of hadith, okay, and say, oh, they're not authentic, which is not the case, as we'll see just now, because this hadith is authentic, okay. The first two hadiths were in support of those who said it is completely permissible. It is completely permissible, like Imam Shafi'i and Imam Ahmad. They said it's completely permissible. There's nothing wrong with it at all. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he made wudu with the leftover water of the cat. Whereas here, he says to wash it once. Okay, let's see the next hadith. Similar. وَعَنْهُ عَنِ النَّبِيِّ صلى الله عليه وسلم. Here, Abu Hurairah again, رضي الله عنه. So when it says وَعَنْهُ, it's reporting from the person above. Okay, from the person previous to. وَعَنْهُ عَنِ النَّبِيِّ صلى الله عليه وسلم قال طهور الإناء إذا ولغ فيه الهر أن يغسل مرة أو مرتين. رواه الطحاوي وآخرون وقال الدارقطني هذا صحيح. That the purification of the vessel, when a cat licks it, it should be washed once or twice. Once or twice. Here Imam Tahawi and others have narrated this hadith, and Imam Daraqutni, he says this hadith, this sanad is authentic. Hadith is sahih. Now here Imam Abu Hanifa, he says it is makruh. Why does he say it's makruh? Because there's two sets of hadith. The first set of hadith say there's nothing wrong with it at all. Whereas the second set of hadith is, both are authentic. Both are authentic. The second set of hadiths are telling you that it must be washed once or twice. So now, you either say the hadiths that say to wash is weak and this and that, and you neglect them, or either you combine between the two and you say, look, it is allowed to do it if necessity arises, but if necessity doesn't arise and you've got normal water to make wudu with or to drink, then you may use it. You may use the normal water instead of the cat leftover water. Okay, so this is the most balanced view according to these hadith, is to reconcile both sets of hadith. Okay, this is where it takes fiqh. It takes a lot of fiqh to come down to these things. That's why Imam Abu Hanifa, when he came down to this, he had all of these hadiths together in front of him, of course. That's why when a person says that a faqih, like if a person says Imam Malik didn't know the hadith, this will be strange. This will be extremely strange. That how can Imam Malik not know the chain and not know the hadith? So for a person to claim that Imam Malik didn't know this hadith, that's why he didn't act upon it. Are you telling me Imam Malik didn't know the hadith? You can't be really talking the truth. That's the same thing with Imam Abu Hanifa. When you say Imam Abu Hanifa didn't know a hadith, how do you know that Imam Abu Hanifa didn't know the hadith? He had thousands of scholars that he studied under. Thousands, not hundreds, thousands of muhaddithin that he studied under. So for him not to know a hadith is very, very, very unlikely. Same goes for all the imams. Okay? Not to boast with all of them, but to say that, look, they knew majority of the hadith. For them to not come across a hadith would be extremely rare. And even to prove that Imam Abu Hanifa didn't know the hadith, that itself would be extremely difficult. That itself would be it would be an impossible job. For you to say Imam Abu Hanifa didn't know a hadith, that's why he gives the verdict this and this and this. He gave that verdict this and this and this not because he didn't see the hadith. He saw the hadith. Most likely he saw the hadith. But he has a different understanding of that hadith. Why he rejected that hadith, or why he didn't accept that hadith, because of other factors. Okay, the same goes for Imam Malik, and same Imam Malik himself, I told you, narrates himself in his Muwatta a hadith is that he clearly says la na'malu bihi, we don't make amal on them. Sahih.com hadiths, Sahih.com of the highest caliber, golden chains, we call them golden chains. Golden chains. He's rejecting them outright. He's saying we do not follow this hadith. Meaning we, the people of Medina, we don't follow this hadith. So there's definitely a problem in that hadith. There has to be a problem in that hadith for all the fuqaha not to follow that hadith. So therefore, we don't just say, just because the hadith is sahih is my madhab. This is the current mode, the current wave of misunderstandings. That if the hadith is sahih, then it's my madhab. But the point is, to a faqih and a mujtahid, how do you know which hadith he deems to be authentic and which hadith he deems not to be authentic? You understand? This is where you're going to have a serious problem if you say, oh, Imam Abu Hanifa didn't know the hadith. I've heard with my own ears, Sheikh saying such claims that Imam Abu Hanifa didn't know this hadith. Imam Malik didn't know the hadith. I was like, the audacity a person can have to say, Imam Malik didn't know the hadith, Imam Abu Hanifa didn't know the hadith. This is why the hadith says this and they say that. Astaghfirullah. Na'udhu billahi min dhalik. Na'udhu billahi min dhalik. Imam Abu Hanifa didn't know the hadith is Raful Yadayn. He must be laughing. That's a hadith that's narrated from so many Sahabas. So many Sahabas. But those same Sahabas that narrated it, it's like they didn't make amal upon it themselves. So what discussion are you going to have after that? The same Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu, he himself didn't act upon that. You understand? So you're going to have a big problem when you say, oh, Imam Abu Hanifa didn't know the hadith. That's just a very shallow way of thinking. Extreme shallow way of thinking. Anyway, so this is how Imam Abu Hanifa reconciled between the two pairs of hadith of washing, so where Rasulullah ordered for the washing of the vessel, and Rasulullah at the same time used the leftover water. So therefore we can deduce from there that it can be used, but it is makruh. In general cases, it is makruh, but it can be used. We done this hadith. وعنه قال إذا ولغ الهر في الإناء فأهرقه واغسله مرة رواه الدارقطني وإسناده صحيح. So look, there's one hadith, two hadith, three hadith is there. Okay, and when a cat licks a vessel, then take out all that is inside the vessel. فأهرقه واغسله, and clean it one time. And this is also reported in Sunan of Daraqutni, and the hadith isnad is sahih. وقال النموي والموقوف أصح في الباب. Here he says a very clear statement. He says the mawquf hadith. What's a mawquf hadith? Those who are paying attention to the Mustalah al-Hadith lesson would have known this. Mawquf hadith is a statement of a Sahabi. It's not a hadith. It's a statement. It's a hadith of the Sahabi, basically. Okay? The hadith that stops at a Sahabi. So he says, Imam Nimawi says, the most authentic in this chapter is the evidences that we have from the Sahaba. Evidences that we have from the Sahaba. Now, he's not going to expand upon that because here his discussion is hadith, specifically hadith. Okay? He wants to bring you only the hadith of Rasulullah. He's not going to bring all the views of the Sahaba. But the mawqufat brings more authenticity to light regarding why we say that it should be washed. Why we say it should be washed. Any questions here on this chapter before we move on to the chapter of the leftover water of a dog? Okay, this is the next chapter. Babu su'ril kalb. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم طهور إناء أحدكم إذا ولغ فيه الكلب أن يغسله 7 مرات أولاهن بالتراب. رواه مسلم. This hadith is narrated in Muslim, and we said that a dog, when he licks a vessel, then it should be cleaned 7 times. This is the hadith. Remember who's narrating it? Abu Hurairah. The narration is in Muslim. No doubt of authenticity. Now we go on to, just after 2 hadiths, you'll see Abu Hurairah's narration again. Okay? Just wait for it. وعن عبد الله بن مغفل رضي الله عنه قال أمر رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم بقتل الكلاب ثم قال ما بالهم وبال الكلاب ثم رخص في كلب الصيد وكلب الغنم وقال إذا ولغ الكلب في الإناء فاغسلوه 7 مرات وعفروه 8 بالتراب. رواه مسلم. Here the hadith is narrated by Abdullah bin Mughaffal. Rasulullah initially ordered for all the dogs to be killed. For all the dogs to be killed. This was initially, okay, when these dogs became really wild, okay, when they became interfering in people's businesses and started biting people, and they started taking people's stuff away, and they became really wild, yeah. When they became wild, Rasulullah initially, the initial stage was that Rasulullah ordered for these dogs to be killed in general. Now, if a person sees this hadith only, what's going to happen? He's going to think all dogs must be killed. Huh? That's what's going to happen to a literalist who only sees one hadith in front of him. But look at the story, okay? See the history and then only judge for yourself. Later on, Rasulullah gave exemption. He gave an allowance for those who have, for example, those who have sheep, for a shepherd dog, for a person who's blind, a guide dog, for those who, those sort of things, you know, those, when it comes to necessity, you can train a dog for that purpose. Security, for security reasons, maybe you can keep a dog outside of the house, not inside the house. Okay, many people think you can keep it in, no. Inside the house, the Malaika of Rahmah won't enter the house. Okay, and there's many evidences for that. In Bukhari as well. The hadith, the evidence of that is in Bukhari. Anyway, the point is here, dog must be left outside for security. You can use a security dog. You see that in South Africa, very common, because security is a problem there, you know. So that's not an issue. You can keep it as a security dog. You can keep it for a person who's blind. You know, he doesn't know his path. You can guide him. Person he's got farmland. As long as it doesn't come and lick him and everything, he can't pray with that. He can't pray salah with that clothing. Or if he licks his hands and stuff, then he has to go and wash it. Now, if you take the opinion of the other madhabs, you have to wash it 7 times, one of which is not Imam Malik. Imam Malik doesn't take this opinion, by the way. Imam Abu Hanifa and Malik are on the same side. Okay? Just for you to know on this mas'ala. That Imam Shafi and Imam Ahmad, they say about the 7. Washing 7 times, one of which must be with soil. They say that. So they use that hadith of Muslim and Bukhari. The hadith also comes in Bukhari. Correct. Whereas here, ثُمَّ رَخَّصَ, then Rasulullah gave rukhsa. Rukhsa is concession, allowance. Okay, allowance. ثُمَّ رَخَّصَ فِي كَلْبِ الصَّيْدِ, a dog which is trained to hunt. Okay, so hunting dog is also permissible. Okay, as long as it doesn't go and eat from the animal. So for example, if you tell it to go and hunt a bird or something, he goes and hunts the bird, or he goes and hunts the deer, and he brings it for you. One of the conditions of hunting is that it mustn't eat from the meat. Okay, it doesn't eat from the meat itself. If it can bite it, yes, of course it can bite it. Definitely can bite it. He has to kill it. And if it's still alive, you have to go and slaughter it. That's the only way it becomes halal. وَكَلْبِ الْغَنَمِ, Kalb al-Ghanam is a shepherd dog. Shepherd dog is allowed. I told you, security dog is allowed. This hunting dog is allowed. So Rasulullah gave allowance for this, meaning for necessity you can allow it, but not as a pet. Not as a pet. Nowadays they keep it as a pet. This is na'udhu billah. You know, this is completely contrary to Sharia. Even according to Imam Malik's madhab, this is against. Okay, even though Imam Malik says it's pure, you know, the dog is not najis according to his view. But the other madhabs, all the other 3 madhabs, they say no, it is the tongue, the saliva of the dog is najis. Is najis. It's not najisul ayn. Najisul ayn means from the tip of the nose until the tip of the tail. It's all najis, meaning everything of it is najis, like the pig. Okay, everything of it is completely najis. It cannot be made halal in any way or form. Okay, any part of it cannot be made halal at all. Whereas the dog, you can use it. You can use it as long as it doesn't. I mean, even if you pet it and it's dry, there's no najasa on it. Nothing wrong with it. But you shouldn't do it just for the sake of showing that, look, this is a najis creature. End of the day, it's a najis creature. Okay. قال إذا ولغ الكلب في الإناء فاغسلوه 7 مرات وعفروه الثامنة بالتراب. This is very similar hadith. Next, this hadith is in Muslim as well. وعن عطاء عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أن كان إذا ولغ الكلب في الإناء أهراقه وغسله 3 مرات. رواه الدارقطني وآخرون وإسناده صحيح. Here, عطاء ibn Abi Rabah, the Mufti of Makkah, we said this, yeah? Mufti of Makkah, he narrates from Abu Hurairah رضي الله عنه. What does he say? He says, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, if إذا ولغ فيه الكلب, sorry, عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه أنه كان إذا ولغ الكلب في الإناء أهراقه. If a dog were to lick a container containing anything, he would throw out all that is within the container and he would clean it, wash it 3 times. Who is saying it? Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu is saying it. On the authority of who? Ata ibn Abi Rabah, Faqih of Makkah. Okay? Do you understand what's happening here? Okay? The first hadith on the chapter of Muslim, in Muslim, that's brought in Muslim. So Imam Muslim is probably on the side of Imam Shafi'i and Imam Ahmad. Okay, that's probably the reason why he brought this hadith in his Sahih. Whereas other narrations from Abu Hurairah that are in other kitabs like Sunan ad-Daraqutni and the Isnad is Sahih, according to Imam Daraqutni himself, here Abu Hurairah is known to have done it thrice. This is the action of Abu Hurairah. This is the action of Abu Hurairah. So if he believed in the hadith that says 7, that is in Muslim, he wouldn't have done this. Abu Hurairah wouldn't go contrary to hadith, would he? So now he's going directly against the hadith, so therefore there's a problem with the hadith, isn't it? Just like I said about Ibn Umar. But whereas, look, you have to understand, look, if in general, in Mustalah al-Hadith, you learn, that's why I said Mustalah al-Hadith is written by Shafi, written by majority Shafi. So when the Shafis got, when a hadith is contradicting, meaning there's a hadith that is a statement of Rasulullah, and there's a hadith, the action of the Sahabi that's narrated the action of Rasulullah, but he does contrary. According to Imam Shafi'i, they'll still take this. They'll still take the hadith over the action that is done contrary to the same Sahabi. Okay? This is why they do Raful Yadayn. This is why they do Raful Yadayn. And same thing with this mas'ala of the dog. This is why they reject this action of Abu Hurairah. Rather, they say we'll go with the hadith of Rasulullah. But now, if the narrator himself is not doing that which he himself narrated, what does he call out for? A problem in that hadith. That maybe initially Rasulullah ordered this, but later on his view changed, and it was like any other najasa, it has to just be cleaned. Whether it's thrice, 5 times, 7 times, however many times you want, as long as that part is totally cleaned, alhamdulillah, you've done the job. Okay? This is our madhab. Our madhab, according to the saliva of the dog, is when you have to remove the najasa however you can. Minimum 3 times, however many times it takes, no problem. Okay? If, for example, the way we wash our clothes, we wash our clothes inside the washing machine. We don't wash it thrice and 4 times and 5 times and 6 times. So if you put it inside the washing machine, it's najasa is gone. Are you going to tell me to put it inside the washing machine 7 times and then go and rub it against the soil as well, and then come and put it inside the washing machine again? Because in some narrations it says 8th time as well, according to Imam Ahmad. So that's not the case. That's not the case. Okay? As long as the najasa is removed, alhamdulillah, it is done. Done and dusted. Okay? This is the madhab of Imam Malik and Imam Abu Hanifa. Next one. وعنه عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال إذا ولغ الكلب في الإناء فأهرقه ثم اغسله 3 مرات رواه الدارقطني. We done this. So 2 hadiths, both narrated in Daraqutni, and the second one is narrated in Daraqutni and Tahawi Sharif. Sharh Ma'ani. When they say Tahawi, generally it's referred to Sharh Ma'ani al-Athar. That's his main book. Mushkil al-Athar is there, but that's for a separate purpose. I told you why. That's for contradictory hadiths. So he basically reconciles between contradictory hadiths that looked apparently contradicting. Whereas Sharh Ma'ani al-Athar, his book, is like the book of the Hanafi madhab. Okay? Anyone wants to know the evidences of the Hanafi madhab from the early literature, they must study Sharh Ma'ani al-Athar. And it's translated. The first volume is translated, I think. Go and buy it. Inshallah, in the future, if you have a chance, maybe we will go through it. وعن ابن جريج رضي الله عنه قال لي عطاء يغسل الإناء الذي ولغ الكلب فيه قال كل ذلك 7 و5 و3 مرات رواه عبد الرزاق في مصنفه وإسناده صحيح. Ibn Jurayj, he says, Ata radiallahu anhu said to me that the vessel must be washed that which is licked by a dog 7 times, 5 times, and 3 times. Meaning all of them came in narrations. 5 came in narration, 3 came in narration, 7 times came in narration. Okay? All of them are completely okay. Rawahu Abdul Razak, you can suffice with any, meaning you can suffice with any as long as the najasa is. So this is Ibn Jurayj from Ata. This Ata is from Makkah. Then Imam al-Zuhri. Imam al-Zuhri, everyone that studies hadith, everyone knows Imam al-Zuhri. There is no, if you want to say the whole hadith literature revolves around only, they call him Madarul Asanid. Madarul Asanid. All of hadith literature revolves around like these 5 to 6 individuals. And one of them is Imam al-Zuhri. Without him, the hadith literature is no more. It's like Abu Huraira. Like Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu. Without Imam al-Zuhri, there is no such thing as hadith literature, because you're going to take out at least 1/6 of hadith literature out of the window. Okay? So Imam al-Zuhri plays a vital role when it comes to the isnad and the narration of ahadithis, and majority of the ahadithis go through Imam al-Zuhri. Imam al-Zuhri. Now, he says, wash it 3 times. Imam al-Zuhri himself, he says, narrate from Ma'mar in the Musannaf of Abdul Razak, he says, Ma'mar asked him about the leftover water of a dog, what should happen? He said, wash it 3 times. It's enough. It's sufficient. Okay? So Imam al-Zuhri, Ata, and Abu Huraira's action, very clearly, Salafus Salihin, very clearly it shows us that our adillah here in this bab is sahih. It might have not been brought in Bukhari and Muslim for other reasons. Allahu a'lam why Imam Bukhari or Imam Muslim. Here we found the hadiths of Muslim, isn't it? Found the hadiths of Muslim. Allahu a'lam why Imam Muslim didn't bring these hadiths that are sahih also. These narrations that are also authentic. Khair, inshallah. So this hadith is in Musannaf of Abdul Razak, and the hadith, the sanad is authentic. Imam al-Tahawi, in his Sharh Ma'ani al-Athar, he says it's abrogated. According to this footnote 24 on page 34. He says the action that is mentioned of 7, one of which is with soil, that was abrogated. Meaning it's an earlier action that did take place, but later on it got abrogated, and clear abrogation is when the Sahabi goes contrary to the hadith, the same Sahabi that narrated to you that hadith. So therefore, here it is, according to Imam Tahawi, it is an abrogation, meaning you can't follow that view anymore. So you can maybe go with that view if you're a Hanafi, but I told you ultimately the purpose is najasa. Najasa being removed. And if you remove the najasa, alhamdulillah, your clothes is clean, your body is clean. Any questions on this chapter? Huh? Okay, inshallah, we'll go to the next chapter. Babu najasatil mani. The only person that says money is semen. Semen, so there's 3 types of fluids we learn in fiqh. 3 types of fluids. One fluid is generally due to some type of illness. It happens when you go to urinate. It comes just before urination or after urination. Okay? The slight thin fluid, yellowish type, bit of yellow. Okay? That shows that a person might be sick. Okay? This is called wadi. Wadi. I'm going from the lowest to the highest, yeah? The next one is called madhi. So the first one is wadi. Wow and dal, yeah? Wadi. Wadiyun. Second one is madhiyun. Ali radiallahu anhu, it is narrated in the narration that he was kana rajulan madda'an. Kana rajulan madda'an. He used to have a lot of madhi. What is madhi? Madhi is when a person gets aroused. Okay? When a person gets aroused, sticky fluid comes out, but it doesn't gush out. Semen is that which is gushes out of desire. Okay? And your organ becomes weak after that. Okay? This is semen. This is mani. Mim, nun, ya. Maniyun. Okay? This is semen. We're talking about semen specifically. So semen is najis, impure, filthy, It has to be cleaned, and you're going to be in the state of janaba. You have to have a ghusl, full ghusl, shar'i ghusl. So you have to make kulli and you have to make nose. Okay, you have to make both of them. You have to clean the nose thoroughly, and you have to clean the throat thoroughly until the bone. So this is and the whole body fully. So for example, this is what happens. We studied about when we become muftis now, isn't it? Everyone's a muftis nowadays. So, for example, if a person is in the halatul junub, he's in the state of janaba, he had relations with his wife, or God forbid, masturbation. Now that's another disease that's spreading. It's destroying everything, destroying the youth, destroying marriages, is ending up in divorce, destroying everything, destroying people's lives, completely destroying other people's lives. Anyway, let's not go there. The point is, if a person is in the state of janaba, can he go into a bath? Come on, muftis. Huh? Bath, top. And his ghusl will be done. Why can't he go inside the bath? Exactly. That's very good. Why? Because the condition of the water is that it must be a large quantity of water. So if you dip inside the bath, what are you dipping inside? Little quantity of water. Therefore, all that water becomes najis immediately as you go inside the bath. The whole water becomes najis. Okay? After you had, if you want to have a bath, yeah, it's not that you can't have a bath. If you want to have a bath, you can have a bath, but thereafter you have to pour water over your whole body and make sure that the water touches every particle of your body and make the istinshaq and madmada. Okay? Put water inside your nose and clean your mouth as well. Otherwise, your ghusl won't be done. Because you're going into little quantity of water. Okay? And that applies to everything. Now you can be muftis now. You can come up with whichever situations you want to come up with. If it's little quantity of water, it's not 9 meters by 9 meters, then it's little quantity of water automatically. And if the surface can be seen when the water is taken out, scooped out, then automatically. So these are principles. These are principles that you can become muftis with. Okay? So these are the things that you're supposed to learn. For example, if you have something on the skin that's preventing it to touch the skin, okay, like nail polish, would your wudu be done? No. Okay, so now you're the mufti now. Apply it to anything. Apply it to paint. You're doing paint work, okay? So if you work paint work on you, you have to rub it out. Otherwise, your wudu won't be done if it's on the limbs of the wudu, okay? Your wudu won't be done. Okay, paint, nail polish, anything. Watch, yeah, you can move it through. Like ring as well, you can move it through. Okay, you can move it through. As long as the part which is required to be washed is washed, then it's done. Okay. So these are general principles which you can use blanketly, more or less. Okay, which you can use on anything. Okay, you can become your own mufti on that. Well, okay. The hadith here we have it. So the only person that says money, okay, so we said wadi, the liquid that comes before or after urination. Madi is something that comes out of, normally it's out of desire. It's sticky, it comes out, you find it on your pants. Alas, you go and wash it off, make wudu, done. Okay, so wadi and madi only. Wash it off the place, remove it from the clothes, remove it from the part of the body, and make wudu. That's it. Okay, that's the answer that Rasulullah got. He was ashamed because he's the damand. He's the son-in-law of Rasulullah. So he sends another Sahabi to go and ask the question to Rasulullah. Okay, anyway, the hadith is probably coming here, most likely. So money is impure. The money is that which gushes out with desire. That's the definition of mani. So semen, when it does come out, it obligates ghusl, according to all four madhabs. According to all four madhabs. Okay? Now, Imam Shafi'i is his opinion that mani is pure. Mani is pure. Not to say that it doesn't obligate ghusl. That's why I said, according to all four madhabs, it is fard to have a ghusl. Okay? Fard to have a ghusl. But to him, mani is like, you know, like, if you bogey, it's like that. It's like mucus and like something that you don't like, but it's not impure. But would you eat earwax? No, you won't. Would you eat mucus? You won't. You know? Would you eat bogey? You won't. Okay? But it's pure. Hukman, according to Sharia, it's pure. But is everything that's pure, is it eaten? It's not eaten. You understand? So even according to Imam Shafi'i, it's haram for you to eat. It's not something for you to eat. Okay? It's not allowed to eat. But according to him, the opinion is, according to many ahadith, that he gives the opinion that mani is pure. Okay? Whereas the other three imams, they say mani is najis. Mani is impure. And it would only logically make sense that something which is impure would only obligate ghusl. Isn't it? Otherwise, why would it obligate ghusl if it's not impure in the first place? You understand? And we say inside our fiqh books, Shafi'is as well, they say the same thing, more or less. They say anything which exits the two sabilain, isn't it? Anything which exits from your front passage, private passage, and your back passage is impure. Anything that comes out of those two passages are impure. But then they have the argument that it doesn't come out of the same passage, it comes out of Allah. Anyway. Okay, each madhab has their own views, each madhab has their own evidences, and it is allowed to follow. If you're a Shafi'i, be a Shafi'i. Don't change madhabs. No, don't change madhabs. Just because you heard me say something about Hanafis and the Hanafis are more stronger in this mas'ala or what. No, your madhab is your madhab. You know, your madhab is your madhab. All the imams are mu'tamad. We rely on all the imams. Okay, it's just that sometimes when it comes to hadith understanding, the understanding may go for a certain madhab more than any others. You know, this is why the Hanafi madhab understanding is much, much more refined. You want to say, much more refined compared to other madhabs. It's more to your logical understanding, to your rational understanding. It's more closer to your rational understanding, as well as evidences of the text, as we can see here. So here, عن سليمان بن يسار قال سألت عائشة رضي الله عنها عن المني يصيب الثوب فقالت كنت أغسله من ثوب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فيخرج إلى الصلاة وأثر الغسل في ثوبه بقع الماء رواه الشيخان. This hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. Here, Aisha radiallahu anha says that when money was on the clothes of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, she washed it, and then Rasulullah went out with that same clothing to prayer, whilst the patches of washing was still on the clothes. Of course, it's washed. It's washed. The najasa is taken out already. But back then, they probably had one, at that time, he probably had one piece of clothing to go out for salah. So he wore that same clothing and he went out for salah. But it's pure because it's already been washed. So this hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim, and it says washing. It says ghasl. Okay? Just a patch. Just a patch. You don't need to wash the whole garment. The whole garment doesn't become najis. Only the part that it falls on is the najis part. Okay? Is the najis part. Well, according to us at least. So this hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim. It says washing. Okay? Next hadith. وعن ميمونة رضي الله عنها قالت أدريت لرسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم غسله من الجنابة فغسل كفيه مرتين أو ثلاثا ثم. Here she goes through the whole procedure of ghusl, the sunnah ghusl. We're not going to go through that inshallah. Then ثم أفرغ على رأسه ثلاث حفنات ملء كفيه ثم غسل سائر جسده ثم تنحى عن مقامه ذلك فغسل رجليه رجه الشيخان. So here the part that Imam Nimawi wants to give dalil from is when a person goes into the state of janaba, it is necessary to make a ghusl. It is necessary to make a ghusl, and this is according to all four madhabs. I said this very clearly, isn't it? Even according to Imam Shafi'i. Okay, don't have a misunderstanding that Imam Shafi'i, just because he says it's pure, it doesn't mean that you don't take a ghusl. You have to take a ghusl. Okay? Same with the woman. Many people don't know this. In the Hanafi book, it makes it very clear. إذا التقى الختانان وجب الغسل. When the two private parts meet, meaning when they enter into one another, alas, you have to have ghusl. Whether semen comes or not. Whether semen comes or not, the moment you entered, khalas, you have to have ghusl. Whether you came or not. Okay, whether she came or not. You both of you have to have ghusl. Okay? Okay. Right. وعن ميمونة, we done this, yeah? So the second hadith shows the sunnah way. So the sunnah way is basically, you wash your private parts with the left hand. With the left hand. Always with the left hand. Same with istinja. Istinja always with the left hand. Never with the right hand. Okay? Unless necessity. Absolute necessity, okay, maybe right hand. But in general cases, 99.9% of the time, always left hand. So he used to rub the private parts properly, thoroughly. Then he would wash his hand thoroughly, and then he would make wudu like the normal wudu, and then he would make ghusl. Okay? He would make ghusl completely. Generally, jugs of water, 3 jugs on top, 3 jugs on the right, 3 jugs on the left. And then after all his body is thoroughly washed, he's already done the madmada and istinshaq. Later on, what do? He used to wash his feet separately, because maybe the water used to gather at the bottom. Okay? They used to come out of that place and then wash his feet separately. Okay? If the water gathers in a certain place, then you have to wash the feet afterwards separately. Okay? Is that understood? If the water gathers. Generally, our water doesn't gather, so it's fine. Okay? Any question? Answered it. Okay. Right. So these both hadiths are absolutely sahih, both in Bukhari and Muslim. The next hadith. وعن عبد الله بن عمر رضي الله عنه أنه قال ذكر عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله عنه لرسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أنه تصيبه الجنابة من الليل، فقال له رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم توضأ واغسل ذكرك ثم نم. Yes, this is another point. This hadith is very important because a lot of people, they don't know this mas'ala. Okay? And it's not something that is well known anyway, because you should do ghusl immediately. You know, if you can, you should do ghusl immediately after having relations with your wife. Okay? But if you don't do ghusl immediately, then what should you do? That's the question from Umar ibn al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu. Rasulullah said, at night, just wash your private part, make wudu, and go to sleep. Meaning, when you wake up, you can make your ghusl. When you wake up, you can make your ghusl. Meaning, you can delay ghusl. You can delay ghusl. So, for example, in the month of Ramadan, this comes very commonly. Yeah, in the month of Ramadan, you have relations with your wife after Tarawih. After that, you're feeling a bit lazy. Like, okay, no, I'll leave it afterwards. Sehri time comes, you want to eat sehri. Sehri time's already here. You want to have sehri. Thereafter, you're still in the state of janaba. Is your fast done? Yes, your fast is done. Fasting has no thing between janaba and fasting. Okay? You've started the morning in the state of janaba, that's fine. Happened to Rasulullah as well. Happens. We're humans. You know, you can delay the ghusl. But of course, it's ideal not to. Ideal not to. This hadith again is in Bukhari and Muslim, so you can delay. وعن أبي السائب مولى هشام بن زهرة عن أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا يغتسل أحدكم في الماء الدائم وهو جنب فقال كيف يفعل يا أبا هريرة رضي الله عنه يتناوله تناولا رواه مسلم. Here the question was asked to Abu Hurairah رضي الله عنه. The hadith is in Muslim. The question was asked to Abu Hurairah رضي الله عنه that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, in still water, stagnant water, so water that's not moving. So this is talking about small water, not large quantity of water. This is talking about pond, small pond, that doesn't, not equivalent of 9 by 9. So if you go to huge St. George's or something, we know that there's urine inside there, for sure. There's not even a doubt anymore. We know that there's urine inside there. But even if there is urine inside there, does that make the water najis? It won't make it najis. Why? Because of the quantity of water. Okay? that understood? So here, same thing. لا يغسل أحدكم في الماء الدائم. A person must not make ghusl inside water that which is small quantity of water that is still not flowing, not flowing. Then Abu Huraira was told that then in the state of janaba, what shall a person do? What shall a person do? So Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu said, you must take the water out and use it on you. Take the water out, use it on you. Take the water out, use it on you. Away, yes, away from the pond. We'll end there, inshallah. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.